Chapter 2, The City. You tell Sarah you plan to head into the city to find some answers about what's going on here. I'm in, says Sarah. Just like that, you ask? Just like that. You cruise out into the main road heading towards the city. The roads seem fairly clear for now. Even when it gets worse, you don't expect to have too much trouble. Every person who has any sense will be trying to get away from this city. But you need answers more than you need sense. With any luck, you might get some of both. Now that you aren't under the immediate threat of death, you take a better look at your passenger. She's a petite blonde, early 20s, probably could be a model if she was taller. Something about her says her life hasn't been that much fun so far. She has the look of someone who has already survived a lot and come out harder than she otherwise might have been. You think that streak of steel you see in her eyes might serve her well in the coming days. She noticed your interest and asks what's up. You decide now might be a good time to ask her about if she saw any zombies before the one I was chasing her, where she was going when you met, her job, her family. If she thinks the aliens are behind the zombies, nothing, just keep on driving. We'll ask the first one. You ask her if the zombie that was chasing her was the first one she saw. Yes, it was, she tells you. There was a radio on in the bus that had reports about what was happening in the city, but we didn't see anything strange all the way here. I had half convinced myself it was all a hoax by the time I met the one that almost got me. It wasn't my first, you tell her. One of them got my neighbor, and then my neighbor became a lot less neighborly. I'm sorry, Sarah says. She touches your arm in sympathy. You decide to change the subject and ask her where she was going when you met. You asked Sarah where she was going when you met her. I was pretty much getting off the bus from Big City when I met that thing, she tells you. I was planning on grabbing something to eat and then finding a place to live. At least it was considerate enough to stop me from having to move in before I was chased out of town, she jokes. You smile at her. If we had met yesterday, I would have said don't do it. Nothing ever happens in the village. Would have been a shame to be made a liar. One day later, you tell her. She looks back out the window, so you ask about... You ask her what she did for a living before the world went to hell. I guess this is a part where people say they are between jobs. She tells you, I went to Big City to become an actress, just like every other idiot girl from the sticks. They got me right off the bus. Found myself doing things I never imagined anyone would do, and all I ever got was 15 seconds in a lousy commercial. I'm sorry, you tell her. Is that why you decided to make a break for the village? Yep, I woke up in the early hours of this morning and suddenly I thought I had to be away from here. Any life has got to be better than this one, so I did, and here I am. Well, I am glad you did, you tell her, or I would be here chatting to myself. She smiles at you. What about you, Valkyrie? What did you do? She asks. I'm a writer, you tell her. I work out of an office on Main Street. I thought writers worked at home, wearing slippers and a cardigan. Sarah tells you, I find it easier to get it done if I get up and go to work, you tell her. The hardest part of writing is keeping your ass in the chair, which is easier if you don't have TV or games available to distract you. Oh, I guess I never thought about it, she replies. You decide to change the subject and ask her family. You ask her if she has any family she needs to reach. Nope, nobody to miss me, sadly. I grew up in foster care and didn't get close to anybody that didn't turn out to be a creep when I was in Big City. What about you, Valkyrie? Not here, you say. I moved here from overseas a couple of months ago. My nearest family member is 6,000 miles away, and with the way things are, I don't think I'll be making it back for Christmas this year. Hey, wait, did I just get into a car with a complete stranger and then tell them it was okay to kill me and dump the body because no one would come looking, she asks. Yes, you did, you tell her, but you should be okay as long as you don't eat the last of my chocolate. Sarah grins at you. You decide to change the subject and ask her if she thinks the aliens are behind the zombies. You ask her if she thinks the aliens are behind the zombies. Why would they be behind the zombies, she asked, and if they come in peace? Yes, but they came in peace at exactly the same time as the zombies did, reply. That seems like one hell of a coincidence. Plus, they must have technology that could help. As far as I know, so far they have just floated there looking smug while we get eaten. You make a good point, she says, but it's not like we can go and knock on their spaceship and ask them to stop turning people into zombies. You laugh. No, but I think you should try it anyway. I would love to see the look on their faces. Sarah laughs too, but you don't know what the real plan is yet, so you change the subject. Just keep on driving. Okay, what next? Are you going to look for a sign which says zombie making factory this way? What about the aliens that arrived and suddenly the dead are walking? Coincidence? Probably not. The downside is that it's not like you can ask them, but this sudden rush into danger could have its upside. What you need first is a base to work out of, someplace you can get a little sleep without waking up dead. With hordes of people fleeing the city, closely followed by the hordes of the undead, you can slip in. Secure a sweet spot before anybody notices and maybe even find out what's going on while you are still breathing. On the way to the city, you get the chance to bond with Sarah a little. She isn't big on whole sentences, but she has an expressive face and a dry sense of humor that immediately warms you to her. The nearer you get to the city, the thicker the traffic becomes on the other side of the road. People look terrified and desperate. A few times people try to warn you away from the city, but you just smile and wave and keep on going. It isn't long before fields become suburbs and the light begins to thin. You need to find somewhere safe. You doubt things are going to get friendlier in the dark. Luckily, this is not your first time here, and you have already given it a little thought and managed to come up with 3 possible safe havens. You head for the police station, Island of Fun theme park, or the trucking depot. We'll go to the theme park. Normally you wouldn't immediately want to go hang out on a roller coaster when the zombies come, but this has the advantage of actually being an island, with a fast-flowing river on either side, and the bridge goes up to stop people trashing the place when it is closed during the winter. Night is already coming by the time you reach the island. Thankfully, the bridge is still down, and you can't see any activity from the living or the dead. You slowly cross the bridge looking for any sign of movement, but even the wind isn't stirring tonight. The big iron gates are closed as expected, but on closer inspection, you see that the large padlock has just been placed back to look locked. A lucky break maybe, but also evidence that there's probably someone inside. You open it up and head in, closing and the gates putting the padlock back behind you. You are careful not to snap it shut. You don't want to be trapped if the undead are waiting for you. There is some housing for the peak summer staff out the back. You point the car that way. If someone is to be found, it will probably be there. And it's also a good idea to find the best place to sleep before you are too tired to be picky. As you approach the housing area, you see Sarah heading back up your way. No sign of the zombie, she says. Might be someone in a house back there. There's a car and a light. How did you get here so fast? You reply, you must be part cheetah. Sarah just smiles and falls into step with you. It's not long before you locate the Jeep in the light. So how are you going to play this? Walk right up and say hi, or maybe get the drop in case they turn out to be hostile in one way or another. Knock or sneak around the back? We're going to knock. You start to walk up the path to the door, but don't get the chance to knock because the door opens. Out walks the young guy carrying a box. He looks a little guilty, and as soon as he sees you, he stops dead. You step forward trying to look friendly, but he takes a good look at you and drops his box and holds his hands up. I give up, he says. I was just trying to make this a safe place. I'm not a cop, you reply. My name is Valkyrie. I am here for the same thing you are. A gentle cough from behind you reminds you to introduce Sarah. You all shake hands and he tells you his name is Jacob. He was raiding the house for the keys to control the bridge. He has some friends coming, but wants to make this place safe before they get here. I think it's supposed to be he wants to make this safe place before they get here. Okay, Jacob, you say, let's go get that bridge up. Have you got some way of contacting your friends so we know when to let them in? Just at that moment, his back begins to speak. Jacob, this is Heather. Are you there? Jacob pulls out his walkie-talkie and he answers her. Apparently, they ran out of gas as they were coming through town. Jacob offers to come out and get them, but they refuse, saying the building they are hiding in is completely surrounded. They are going to wait till morning and then slip out when the coast is hopefully clear. You carry on to the main entrance and the bridge controls. It takes a while for Jacob to find the right keys from the box. Apparently he worked here a couple of summers back, so he saw this done but never actually did it himself. Soon though, the bridge begins to rise. You sigh in relief. Feeling safer already, you head back toward the housing area to pick a place to hole up. As you near the houses, Sarah comes up to you. We all set, Hotshot, she asks. Yeah, bridge is up. We'll need to keep an eye out for Jacob's friends, but he seems cool, so I think we'll be okay. Sarah looks nervous for a second, then looks you straight in the eye. I know there are plenty of houses, but do you want to bunk together? It would be safer, and you know we could. Accept her offer. Refuse, but suggest you live together anyway. Tell her you will find your own place. We're going to accept her offer. You step a little closer to Sarah and tell her what a good idea you think that is. She smiles up at you and takes your hand. Don't get any funny ideas though, Hotshot. She says you aren't getting any till the third date. You thought this was a date, you say with mock shock. Sarah leads you in and thankfully she has already made the bed. It's been a long day. You trust that Jacob will wake you if anything happens with his friends. As soon as your head hits the pillow, you are asleep. After what seems like 10 minutes sleep, you are woken by someone banging on your door. You stagger out to find Jacob looking irate. Something has happened, he almost shouts in your face. I was talking to Heather on the radio. She sounded scared and there were screams in the distance. I need to go get them. You try and calm him down. If there were screaming back there, then it's probably all over by now. On the other hand, if even one of them managed to make it out. Help Jacob go after his friends. Try and talk him out of going. Wish him luck and wave him off. We'll help him. You tell Jacob that if you go together, you can take both cars. That way you won't have any trouble getting all his friends out at once. Jacob seems to relieved to have help, and you don't waste any time getting the cars and heading down to the bridge controls. As soon as the bridge starts coming down, Jacob guns his engine and you hurry back to your car to catch up. Jacob is going pretty fast, however, and it isn't long before there are zombies between the two of you. As if noticing the same thing, Jacob suddenly slows to let you catch up. This proves to be a disaster, however, and the leader of the zombie pack catches up and punches straight through the window, almost ripping Jacob out of the car in half a second. Jacob must have good reflexes though, because he slammed the zombie with the car door, knocking it back. What now? Reverse back across the bridge and raise it, or plow into the zombies nearest Jacob's car. We'll plow into the zombies. You hit the 3 zombies that were almost on Jacob as hard as your engine will allow. Then throwing open your passenger door, you shout at Jacob to get in. The car rocks as 3 more of them hit the back at a run. The very millisecond Jacob touches the seat, you slam the car into reverse and head back over the bridge. You jump out of the car and hit the bridge controls with what must be record-breaking speed. 2 of the fastest zombies make it onto the bridge just as it begins to lift, but Jacob yanks a handgun from the small of his back and dispatches them both with 2 shots, like a marksman. Your admiration for his skills is interrupted, however, as the raising of the bridge nears completion and the 2 corpses rain down, almost hitting you. The 2 of you drag the bodies to the water and let them be carried away. You only make it halfway back to the houses, however, when Jacob collapses to the floor sobbing. I couldn't save them, he moans. I couldn't even save myself. Jacob leans heavily on you as you take him back to the house. As you near the houses, Sarah comes out to meet you. Where the hell have you been? I thought I heard the bridge. Leaving a girl alone in bed creates a bad impression, you know. Jacob's friends were attacked, couldn't get to them, and we lost his car. Help me get him into bed, you say. Sarah looks like she's about to give you an earful, but instead she shakes her head, props him up on the other side, and helps you get him to bed. When you make it back to your own bed, Sarah turns to you and says, "Next time you decide to go off and get yourself killed, you had better not leave me behind. Understood?" You can do nothing but nod, which turns out to be the right move, as you are rewarded with a kiss. Sarah then turns over and snuggles into you. She is asleep within moments, and you are not far behind. You wake slowly, allowing yourself the pleasure of being wrapped around Sarah for a few moments. Yesterday was a crazy day, so it's nice to know that even that day from hell has a silver lining. But you can't do this all day. You came to the city for a reason, and if you don't push forward quickly enough, then you will lose your chance. You need to get it together, and you need to do it now. You rise and head out into the kitchen. Saving the world may be important, but coffee is absolutely vital. Coffee, you ask? Dear God, yes, she replies. You stagger into the kitchen and empty the supplies out of your backpack. Thank God you remember the coffee supplies. You find a few mugs in the cupboard and set to work. It isn't long till Sarah joins you, and as if summoned by the aroma, Jacob bangs on the door. Once Sarah has let him in, you are all sleeping happily, Sarah asks, "So what's the plan for today, Valkyrie?" "We need to get to the Central Trade Building," you replied. "The alien ship has hoovered over since it got here, and if they are responsible for the zombies, then the chances are that that's where it's happening." They nod in unison. "Also, we should probably hit the market on the way back, get in some supplies before other looters hog them all." More nodding. You have a good feeling about this leadership thing. You tell the others to gather their stuff. You head out in 5 minutes. As you head out into the daylight, you notice the bike racks beside the precinct. That could be a good idea. No wasting petrol, no loud noise, but it is kind of a long way. What do you think? Take the car or take the bike? Well, if we're gonna go to the market, we should probably take the car. Several times we tracked a pack of zombies only to lose them in the city streets. Although this takes time, it isn't long before you see the alien ship floating in the distance. More than once you wonder about the sanity of this plan, but the nearer you get to the trade center, the less zombies there seem to be. In fact, for the final couple of streets, you didn't see a single one. You hunker down behind some handily provided potted trees and consider your next move. Hardcore or stealth? Sneak in the back, charge the gates, or go home. You are tired. We'll sneak in the back. You only make it 3 steps. There is a sound. Funny sound. Kinda nice. Hard to fade to black.